Hi, I am Karen Andree. I work for ANET, which is a network of scientific libraries in Belgium. Our main client is the library of the University of Antwerp, but we have also external libraries that are partners. We all used Brocade, which is our library system. And all these libraries, so they use Brocade, we use the software commonly, we have common online catalogs, common library practices such as manuals, and we also shared metadata records. Next slide, please. So the outline of today is cooperative cataloging, which is one of the topics of this conference. More specifically, subject indexing of publications. So it is about content of publications. We use therefore a standard, the Art and Architecture Thesaurus. And I will shortly be presenting a tool with the name Vesper, which is a copy cataloging tool. It's online, it's open for everybody to use. And well, the setup is at ANET, but actually it's really a tool for cooperation. Next slide, please. A few words about Art and Architecture Thesaurus, because we are with libraries here. It's a hierarchical art vocabulary consisting of general terms, mainly the scope of material culture. It's really vast, so it has over 40,000 concepts and over 200,000 terms. That's because it's multilingual. So it is really well represented in different languages. It is maintained by Getty in Los Angeles, and it's really well known in museums for object description. So it is a standard because the setup is following ISO and NISO norms. But also the editing part is really important, so you need to give sources, you need to have approval for adding or changing things to this thesaurus. I've added a few examples of terms you can find, terms such as activities like painting or actors such as sculpture, but also materials, techniques, styles, periods, but also abstract terms. Next slide, please. So we are a user of this AAT, and how we do it, we have integrated the vocabulary in our thesaurus environment. So AAT is a kind of authority file type with us. We get updates from Getty to stay up to date. And the main purpose why we did this is because we use this vocabulary for adding subjects to publications. For example, if I have a book about technical art histories, we add the concept of technical art history deriving from AAT. We set a limit. We only do this with libraries with the Arch and Heritage scope. So, for example, if we have a biomedical library at ANET, they are not allowed to use these AAT keywords. Next slide. So I already come to Vesper, our database. What we do in Vesper is sharing our publications with their AAT keywords online. And the key information to do this is obvious, that you need a unique publication identifier. In most cases, it is the ISBN number. And of course, you also need the AAT unique identifiers to identify the keywords. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is how it looks like. It's human readable, our interface of the platform. I will shortly show you how to use it. So next slide. So in the single search box, you can give in the unique identifier belonging to the publication that you want to seek. Next slide. You click on the button, on the search button. Next slide. So, and then you get this result. So you see that the publication with this ISBN number belongs to the publication Un Art Populaire, and it has 3 AAT keywords attached. And you can see it because one keyword belongs to one line with data that you see. Next slide, please. So the fourth column is the title, so there you can see the title of the work. Next slide. The last column, you see the terms, actual concepts. So at the moment we publish the English and Dutch terms. Next. And of course the AAT identifiers are published as well. And we also have an API, so this is manual work for catalogers. We also have API, so if you click there, more information in the gray area, then you can come to the documentation for the use of the API. Next slide, please. So we currently share through Vesper around 313,000 titles with AAT concepts. And we also have a partner at this point, which is RKD in the Netherlands, Nederlands Instituut voor Kunstgeschiedenis. So they delivered also their data of 50,000 titles with AAT concepts. Next slide, please. So why could it be interesting? I think, well, first of all, of course, AAT is the standard which can be used in different GLAM sectors. For the people who are working in libraries, you know that subject indexing is really, really expensive to do. And catalographers, they work with very specialized subjects, and in this case, really specialized tool, which is AAT. So we think we should share this expertise. And also imagine that we at ANET, for example, we could receive data from German libraries where the Germans have assigned German terms to publications, which is quite easy for us because catalographers, well, it's more difficult to screen books that are not in mother tongue language. So for content expertise, we think cooperative cataloging is the solution. Next slide, please. So I sometimes get the question, what about the use of AAT for description of publications? Because I already said it's really well known for describing objects. But finally, over time, we came to realize that it really makes sense that using a terminology for material culture and its documentation, it really makes sense. So, for example, try finding information about specific things. First hurdle is always, how is it actually called? So you first need to define it, and then you can really find relevant information. Next slide, please. Then another big question is the question of subject indexing itself. We all know it's very controversial because well, there is a factor of subjectiveness in both cataloging phase and in the searching phase as well. So subject indexing is tending not to be very popular for innovative initiatives, but we try to give a solution in Vesper, and that is that we gather and publish different approaches in subject indexing. So next slide, please. For example, if I would give in this ISBN number in Vesper, then I would get the result back of the publication Rubens and his workshop, The Flight of Lot and His Family from Sodom. And we also will see that we get different keywords in return. One keyword from RKD, which is restoration, and 2 keywords that our ANET libraries have given, which is studios and technical art history. So we really are presenting keywords of the different deliverers, which makes it, of course, very interesting. Next slide, please. So I think for the future, it's extra interesting because if we find more partners to do this, we can actually start doing data analysis this way. So questions we might be able to investigate is what are important keywords, how our library is performing in assigning keywords, like one library maybe is assigning 1 keyword to publication, while other libraries maybe assign 10 keywords. As one content determination better than the other, can we point out authoritative libraries for certain domains, etc.? Next slide, please. So finally, I really would like to do a warm call to become partner of this project. So delivery of data is quite easy. It's through CSF formats, and the actually real required fields are, of course, the identifiers of the publications and the identifiers of the AAT keywords. Next slide. So this is one slide where I listed up our partners, so the libraries that share their data in this platform. Next slide. So I invite you to check out the platform at this address. Next slide. If you want to have contact about this, I give you 2 email addresses. I'm really interested in talking about this subject and hopefully finding partners. So next slide. Thank you very much.